What's up, guys? Just brought the rain back. Go ahead.
What's Brock been up to? Like, what kind of throwing program is he on? How many days has he thrown? Is he airing it out? We want details.
Yeah, I don't watch him, to tell you the truth. He's right on pace. I think he throws 3 times a week. I do not sit and watch those. It's part of his process of getting back, and he's continuing right on the track he's always been on. No setbacks, and it's been very good so far.
Is it your understanding, like, once training camp starts, that he'll be able to do stuff on the field with the team before he's fully cleared to go play football?
I haven't asked any of those yet. We're taking it very slowly. It's not like you just jump out and push stuff. You're only supposed to throw on this date at this percentage, this many yards, and then you do a couple days later. And if you stay on track, it should heal the right way. And right now, everything's right on track, and so we don't go I don't ask 3 weeks ahead. You just keep trying to stay on that trajectory.
Have you talked to him? How's his mental state?
Great, I think. You guys can ask him, but I don't ask him how his mental state is every day. I see him every day, and he's pretty good.
Just normal?
Yeah, everything's normal. I know we want updates. I totally get it, but there are none. So I can make something up, but there are none. It's like just the next day of working out and rehabbing, and I don't get too involved in that. See him in the meetings, talk to him about football and stuff like that, what will happen when he's healthy, and we're just waiting for him to get healthy.
Carl, there's a report you're going to work out another quarterback. Are you looking to potentially add another quarterback before training camp?
I don't think so, but we always work out all positions and stuff, so I don't go and ask about each one, but it's just part of the process of every position, and always having guys that if someone gets hurt to bring in, guys are on our call list, and usually we don't stop working guys out.
Why did you sign a defensive lineman? Have you had some injuries along the line?
No, I know we wanted 90 for camp, and that's where we wanted our 90. We were a little heavy at receiver.
Is Kalia Davis okay?
Yeah, he's all right. We pulled him out today. We're being safe with him. A number of guys like that. He's been here for a while, but we don't want him to go today.
Was that a bad snap on the Moody kick there?
I didn't look at the snap. I'll see it when I watch the tape. I'm not sure. Definitely was a low kick, though. Couldn't believe no one blocked it.
How has he looked just in the OTAs and in today?
He's done a good job. I mean, you want to feel the leg and stuff that you see on tape that, we sent Brian to go work him out and stuff, so we wanted to make sure that felt the same way in person, and you feel that every day. I mean, he's got a hell of a leg, and we're going to put him in a bunch of situations and keep challenging him, and hopefully he'll be ready to go by week 1.
Kyle, what are your impressions of Javon Hargrave so far?
I mean, he just got here, so we're just getting to know him. We're going to be slow with him, just him not being around throughout phase 1 and 2 and OTAs. We're not going to throw him into anything. So my impressions are he seems like the same guy I've been talking to on the phone. Seems like he's been working out, and hope he spends this week to kind of get acclimated to what we do, the way we do it, and just get used to the guys. And so he feels a little more comfortable when he comes back in training camp.
Is Nick Bosa here?
Yes.
What are your conversations been like with him?
Same as they are every year. How you doing? How's the workout been going? How's Florida? How's the boat? You look tan. Your legs still look big. What are you going to do today? I'm going to probably be in the weight room.
The last 3 years, you've had like big money guys who are due for contracts and got them right before camp. Do you at all get involved in that just from the sense of trying to gauge the player, the person, and if their mindset's in the right spot as far as handling the contractual stuff while also taking care of business, physically to get ready for the season?
Each guy's different. I mean, I try not to get in there, and if I felt they needed advice or something, just with the experience that I have going through this, I would. But usually the contract stuff takes care of itself. Usually the type of guys we want to pay, you don't totally have to have those conversations with. If we did, we probably wouldn't be wanting to sign him long term. Nick, he's not a guy I really ever worry about, whether it's a contract year or not. I know Nick's doing his work. I know Nick is obsessive with his job and obsessive with being the best he can be. So it's usually pretty easy with that stuff. We don't even need to mention the contract. So it's more the same conversation I've had the last 3 years with him when he comes here.
He's ready for week 1. Have you talked to Trey Lance or his agent about a potential trade?
No.
Debo is working on the side field throughout not doing any team drills? Is there anything that he's working through, or just?
No, it just he hasn't been here too, and we want our players to be ready to go. And with him being away and stuff, just didn't feel he was quite in that right spot. So we got some time till camp, so we're not going to rush him on anything that's don't feel he's ready for.
Is Mitchell okay?
He's got some things too, so keeping him out.
With Brock's touring program, will he be here during the downtime, or do you have somebody that goes with him? Like, how does that work?
He'll be here most of the time. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't check on every single one of those because I don't think it's necessary. But Brock's been great on his rehab. He's obsessive about it as you can be. That's why he's ahead of schedule, and I expect him to be here doing it with our guys. And when he does get breaks and long weekends and stuff, however he wants to spend that, he'll do it accordingly.
I was asking about first team, second team reps. I know sometimes it isn't as important, but
Right.
Darnold getting the first team, does that mean Trey gets him tomorrow, or?
Yeah, we've been switching him up each day, I think, for the most part. So, yeah.
How does Sam Darnold come?
Even competition at this point, where is that?
I mean, it's OTAs. So, I mean, every position, like I think I've said to you guys before, like, I don't try to come in and know who's ahead or not. This is all this stuff gives these guys a chance to compete in training camp. When you don't practice football an entire offseason, you don't do any practice of football since, your last game, it's very hard to come to training camp and be ready to beat someone out. And so that's what you try to provide all this stuff for, is just to give guys a chance to learn the offense, get their timing, get everything. So now when they go to training camp, they're ready to compete. And that's truly where I see the competition starting.
Sam Darnold progressing and adapting to the new system?
He's been good, just all these guys. I mean, some good days, some bad days, but that's what this point is throwing all the stuff at them, letting them go through it, and we'll go through the exact same process our first 7 days of training camp. But it's just a little easier to do it because you get pads on, you can do more, and hopefully it'll be easier for them second time going through it, though.
Last OTAs, a representative from the Players Association came on the field, and you seemed to get really agitated about it. Could you shed some light on what we were seeing there?
I wasn't agitated. I was just surprised. So you get surprised, and that's all. But we had a good conversation. He had asked me something. Surprised him to see him out there, and actually know him pretty good. He's a good dude, and there's no issues at all.
Trent kind of in the same boat as Bosa, in that you don't really worry about him too much. I mean, you do have him here now, but you haven't had him before. But
Yeah, I mean, of course I like everyone to be here. I mean, always. Trent, I do think that each year in my career, it gets extremely harder for O linemen and D linemen to get anything out of the offseason just because of the stuff that doesn't allow them to practice football. So it's a little different with those guys. I'd want Trent here more, but at the position, it comes to a time like, for what? And when you're his age and you've done what he's done, I'd rather him be here, but that's one of the positions and definitely one of the players in the league at that position that would worry me the least.
When you talk about the quarterbacks having good days and bad days, is it a combination of, the ball isn't going where it should, or the actual, the passes are off target? Like, how do you define a good or a bad day during this time of year with those quarterbacks?
Same way I define it any day, I mean, it's how they play. And when you look at a play, just because a guy makes a wide open throw that looks good, like, that's what they're expected to do. That's what everyone in the NFL should do. So you're evaluating tons of stuff, how they play in the pocket, where their eyes are, where the ball goes, how does the ball look when it goes, even though that is kind of a prerequisite. I mean, you still got to do it. So yeah, everyone can see how it's thrown. But even when you get completions and stuff, doesn't mean you had the best practice. There's not always a pass rush. Even when there is, we're not calling sacks. Sometimes, just based off how the script goes, you might have a bunch of good looks, and the other guy might have a bunch of bad looks. You don't know how it's going to go. So you evaluate each play, and then you get in there and you watch it with them. But you know who is playing well after that and who's playing bad. It's not a stat thing. It's not a thing I could just verbalize, I guess.
So when you leave the practice field, do you automatically know who had a good day or a bad day? Or do
Yeah,
you have
I
to
got a
have-
pretty good idea. Yeah. We know the coverages and we know where the ball is supposed to go and we know how that goes there and how it looks and why. And sometimes, but you get in, you watch the film and, all right, I thought that was bad, now I get what he saw. It wasn't, or vice versa. And that's why you try to never make too big of a decision or an opinion until you get through the film.
how's Danny Gray's grasp of things since last season ended to now?
I think it's a lot better than when he left off. I think Danny learned from his first year just how long that grind is of a rookie year just going from the off season of the combine and all the workouts to getting here, and it really never stopping. And we saw him in the off season have a little different attention to detail, the way he came here in phase 1 and 2, how he worked to get in shape, and that's what it's allowed him to have a good OTAs and go through a bunch of stuff, which to me, he's finally got in the shape to where he could do everything, and this will really help him for training camp.
Same question for Drake Jackson.
What's that?
Kind of the same question for Drake Jackson.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and Drake, I've seen you guys have heard about it, and it's exactly what we've said. I mean, he was unbelievable this offseason. Even when it wasn't voluntary, he was here on his own anyways, just living in the weight room, trying to change his body, and that's stuff he had to learn from last year, just like Danny. And you can tell how guys learn it by how they start working before they see you, and Drake did that big time. It's carried over to phase 1, 2, and throughout OTAs and phase 3, and excited for him to now get away, keep doing that when we're away from him, and we'll see how he is when we put the pads on.
I have a two-part Brandon Allen question.
Nice.
One, I guess, just your initial impressions of him, and he's been a number 2. Looks like he came here. I mean, he's a potential number 4 here. Do you know if there's a conversation before he signed what led him here, and why you view this as maybe a decent opportunity?
I mean, we knew in free agency we didn't know where Brock was going to be at the time, so we knew we had to go get someone to compete with Trey in case Brock wasn't, and we got fortunate with Sam on that. Then we felt good just with our targets and everything, and once we kind of started phase 1, when we're doing all the quarterback drills and workouts and stuff, it was just, man, there's only 2 quarterbacks here. Brock can't do much, and we would like a third guy. And then we looked out there, and he was available, and then he had the confidence to come here. And then when we watched his tape, and we've always known about him, and we felt very fortunate to get him because he has been a backup in this league. And so when he came here and hopped in our drills, I think we got like 2 weeks with him, and I've been extremely impressed. The reps he's gotten, he's done very well. And he's obviously not just a camp arm around this league. He's been a backup for a while, but just how good he's done in his OTAs and stuff is going to give him a chance with us.
Do you think that you have, and you will have, 4 quarterbacks who are going to be on 53-man rosters this season?
That's what it looks like. I mean, we got technically the 4th guy was the number 2 for Cincinnati last couple of years. So, and that's the way you want it. We would have gone to college free. We could have gone the college free agent route. But when we looked into those guys compared to what was out there and the fact that Brandon was willing to do it, we would never hesitate to do that. Now, if someone like Brandon doesn't want to do it and the other guys that you think are NFL caliber don't want to do it, that is when you go to the college free agent route. And but we feel our guys much better than those options. All right, thanks, guys.
What's been your focus this offseason as far as, I know you always try to build on what you did the year before, things to improve on. What's been your focus to try to get?
Just kind of relate to like last offseason, really wasn't really a lot of stuff was going on, and not put myself in the position that I was last year for is not really working hard. But the main focus this year is just to get back to, the summer, what I did in 2021, not even the season, just yet alone the summer of getting back to the groove of things and getting back in the routine.
Looking back on it, was all this stuff going on, was it a distraction at all? How did you stay focused?
Yeah, it was kind of a distraction for sure.
Just ask Kyle about Danny Gray, his progress. What are you seeing from him this spring?
Just kind of relating from last year. As any rookie, any wideout in this offense that is asked to play coming in, it's pretty hard. It's a lot of thinking going on. It's a lot of things thrown at you at once because, we drafted him in the 3rd round, so we expected him to play. So it was a lot of pressure on. But just seeing him these past couple of weeks, you can tell that he's learned a lot. He still have little mistakes here and there, but he's done a good job of minimizing those and putting himself in a position to play.
Physically, is he more ready to go through all these practices and whatnot?
Yeah. Being in shape for Danny is not one thing, but his mentality and the way he's approaching practice has been amazing to me.
Did you take him under your wing and offer him any advice after what you've been through with Kyle?
Kind of like last year, just explaining to them how Kyle operates and what it takes to be on the field and what it takes to be a receiver in his offense. It's not all about catching the ball and running. You got to stick your nose in there. You got to put your big boy pants on and just be ready to do whatever Kyle asks you to do.
When all was said and done last year, how would you assess your season last year?
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. Yeah.
In what way?
Every aspect.
Can you expound on that a little bit? Like, you just said every aspect, but did that leave a bitter taste in your mouth?
Oh yeah, for sure. Me and Cal had a long meeting the other day. We watched tape. We talked about it. We put it behind us, and just going through the tape and just look how sluggish and like how bad it looked on tape. Like I said, just reflecting on last offseason, it kind of played a big role in that. And I never put nothing like that back on tape again.
Did you feel it as the season was going on, or was it not until you went back and watched it?
I was kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit for us, being in my routine that I normally be in for the offseason, getting ready to play because, like I said, a lot of distractions was going on. But, yeah, I kind of felt it, but I was just, trying to will my way to help the team in every aspect possible.
Does it affect what your goals are for this season?
Oh, not at all.
When you talk about how Kyle operates, how does he operate? How long did it take you to kind of navigate that?
Go back to my rookie year. It took me a whole year just to see, his standard of the receiver room. I feel like we get coached harder than anybody on the team when it comes to Kyle aspect of how detailed and, how detailed in the run game he is. He's not more so worried about you catching the run. He's like, what are the things you're going to do when you're not getting the ball? And he get real upset and angry when, you miss a block or anything like little details that you'll never know about.
Obviously not hugely important for established veterans to be out there during this time, on the field running plays and stuff. Are you happy with where you are physically right now as far as heading into training camp? Are you going to be, ready to go first day?
I'm going to be more than ready to go first day.
When you for training camp last year, you said you started behind the 8 ball. I mean, did you feel out of shape?
Yeah, for sure.
That, were you gassed during practices?
It shows on tape.
You told us that he's ready to take off. You've been watching practice the last couple of days.
Man, you can't cover that boy in a phone booth right now.
What have you seen him do the last year or two?
Just me personally, seeing Brandon from a rookie till now, he's got better day in, day out. Every season he's got better. And just I'm seeing flashes of stuff that I ain't seen him do, how fast he is now, how explosive he is, and the separation that he getting in and out of routes. You can tell he's really detailed this offseason, ready to go.
Debo, there's very few receivers that step out of college and produce right away. Why is that? Is the pro game that much more complex than the college game?
You ask me, people been in this league for a long time, just like you was in college for 4 years, and as you be a senior, you kind of feel like you got a head start of everybody, but this league, it moves so fast, things happen so fast, it's a lot of knowledge, it's a lot of things that you got to take in consideration as going out there, especially, in this offense, there's so much knowledge, and, you breaking the huddle and still thinking, and it's all right, said hut, and it's just stuff, flying all over the place. It kind of takes time for the game to slow down for you.
If you really believe that you were awful last year, do you go into this season almost competing with guys like Brandon, who you said can't cover him in a phone booth, and Christian and Kittle for touches, and thinking?
I'm my own competitor. I'm competing with myself.
What are your goals for this season?
I'm not a guy that set goals. I just go out there and let things happen.
Same routine as always this off season, or have you switched it up in any way?
No, same. Kept it up, just kept improving everywhere.
Any things in particular you've been kind of focused in on after going through last season and seeing where you are, where you started, where you finished? Anything you really kind of have emphasized?
Not really. No, just overall, there's improvements to be made at each facet of my game, and but most of the off season is just preparing myself for a long year and making sure that my body's going to be able to take on the load of 21 games. So just taking days off. I'd say I've been taking a little more time to not forcing myself to push through the things, or I'm learning my body every year. I'm making small tweaks, but I'm improving speed, strength. My body comp is probably similar. But yeah, just taking those days when I need them, and not forcing myself to push through when it's May or April or those months where if I push through something, it's kind of pointless at that point.
Is that something you've had trouble letting yourself do in the past?
Yeah, I don't take days off very much, and That's probably been the biggest change, is just knowing when to take the days off.
What's the hardest part about taking a day off? You get antsy?
Yeah, I just like to, I mean, it's my job, so, and working out makes me feel better overall. So, not going out in the morning and getting my run in and doing all the stuff that I like to do is, it kind of makes me anxious, so.
Is there a way you could find a happy balance with like active recovery?
Yeah, for sure, and that's kind of what it is, like doing a pool workout instead of a run, or taking a lift off and just hanging, so. But yeah, I've gotten better. Each year you tweak things, so.
You mentioned at the end of the year that you're going to be patient with all this contract stuff. Obviously, there's still some time here, but what's your confidence level that you'll be able to, get something done here before camp or right as it starts?
It's pretty high. Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident about that.
Nick, what do you think about the addition of Hargrave, and how do you think that's going to change the look you guys present on the defensive line?
I'm super excited. We've been watching tape on him the past few years in Philly, and I think every time we watch him, Chris raves about him, or would rave about him, and we think of him as one of the best interior guys in the league, especially rushing the passer, and to have him on our side is going to be a huge addition for us.
Had a chance to work out with him or talk to him much in person yet?
Just met him, not too much. It's been a day, so just said hi and that we're both excited to play next to each other.
Al and John have both said they felt like the D-line was still really good last year, but maybe not to the level of dominance that you guys had in 2019. Have you felt that too, and if so, in what ways?
Yeah, I mean, last year was kind of a revolving door interior with the injuries we had and not having Eric or Javon. So guys were coming in and playing snaps in games after being in here for a week, and that's just not ideal for our scheme. You really want to get an off season in with coach and really learn the nuances of playing interior, because I think playing interior is more difficult mentally and with our scheme than playing on the outside. So the fact that we have Kevin, who continues to improve, we have T.Y., who's been here an extra year, and then Javon's looking great, Javon and Eric. I hope I'm not missing anybody. But it just seems like we have a lot more depth, and if we're able to rotate guys in and out, then we could play with the effort and physicality that we need to play with.
General sense of Steve Wilks, what his impact might be generally for the defense and specifically for you?
I don't think it'll change much at all. I think he's going to make some good improvements in the back end, and I don't really need to worry about that as long as the quarterback holds it a little longer. So, but yeah, from first impression, we talked yesterday for a good amount of time in the weight room, and yeah, I think it's going to be very similar for me.
Do you remember where you were in mid-March and what you were thinking and how surprised you were when you found out the 49ers had signed Javon Hargrave?
You said, what was I feeling?
Yeah, I mean, that was a very long question I asked. But do you remember, were you surprised at all when
Yeah, I was surprised.
It's the top?
Yeah, with all the talent we have on our team, to add another guy who's the top free agent. I shouldn't be surprised with our team because Kyle's always trying to improve, and but yeah, I mean, to get the top guy and a guy that I feel like people give him his due, but people don't really know how good he is overall. Like, he's not talked about in that. He might be, I don't know, but I feel like he isn't quite talked about in the Aaron Donald top echelon Chris Jones, but I think he played like that last year and throughout his career. So it's him and Eric inside should be pretty fun.
It's only been one day, but Drake Jackson, it looks like he's put on some weight. What have you seen from him just in the practice you watched today?
Just moving really well, getting the scheme down, and he looks huge. So I think that'll be good for him, and the fact that he's still moving just as good. He's always looking great. Just movement is something you can't teach with him. So, but he just needs to keep going.
You
give yourselves a pretty harsh self-review at the end of the season, kind of assess how you did. Debo just told us, I was awful last year. How would you assess your year last year, Defensive Player of the Year season?
It was a good year for me. Whenever I look back at tape, there's some games where I'm happy with, but there's a lot of snaps that I'm not, and a lot of games that I'm not, and I mean that's just the NFL though. You're playing against really good players, and you're not going to play every game like you want to, and every snap like you want to, but yeah, looking back, I don't love looking at some of the games, but it was a pretty good year.
Right after the season, you were, maybe was it your goal to be the highest paid defensive player? You were the defensive player of the year. I mean, has that changed? Would you like to be paid as such?
I think I'll get what I deserve.
Last one was it, when Debo's comment was brought up that he was awful. Is that just something that drives players at that level? That you're really tough on yourself sometimes when you obviously made a lot of plays last season.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever you're at the top of your profession, if you're not looking to get better, then you're not going to be the best for a while, for very long. So it's good to look back and appreciate and have gratitude for what you've accomplished, but there's definitely a balance between getting complacent and giving yourself some credit, which I have trouble doing for myself. So I try to give myself credit, but also I don't want to take away that competitive drive, because that's why I'm here.
How you doing, George?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
There's a rumor that you're inviting Trey Lance to tight end you. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, he's always invited. He was invited last year, but he had a family thing come up. But no, he'll be here this year. Wonderful.
Doesn't water down tight end you to have some non-tight ends there?
I don't know. I think we have 6 quarterbacks coming in. We need someone to throw us the ball, right? I mean, we relied on Christian last year. That didn't work out too well. So bring some actual quarterbacks in to throw some balls.
What has your impression been on the young tight ends that are joining your group?
Let's see. They're both great. They both got high character guys. They both have great work ethics. They're out there every single day trying to get better. They learn really well. They learn fast. I think Coach Fleury's done a great job about installing the offense with them. They have a very good understanding of everything that we're trying to accomplish. They don't have very many MAs as a rookie, which is pretty astonishing, because I had a bunch when I was a rookie. They're both making plays. Cameron's a big dude. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was in person. Thick, strong, gets off the ball well. At one point he was our second fastest tight end on the day, hit over like 19 miles an hour, so he can run a little bit. Braden's got a great feel in the route game. He's running choice routes, doing that really well, catching the ball strong with his hands. I think he had a drop today, but that was the first time I've seen him drop a ball. But like their eagerness to learn, and they ask a bunch of questions too, which I really appreciate. And I told them both off the front, like, please don't think you're going to ever annoy me with questions. I was in your position once, and all I want to do is give you the best chance of making this team, and so just ask me whatever you want, and they both asked me a ton of questions. So I really appreciate that eagerness from them.
Top speed that you've hit on the GPS?
This OTAs, I think I was 20.5. Yeah, just out there running and gunning a little bit. Got to show the young guys what it is. I feel like I'm still young, though.
In your career, is it faster normally in a game with adrenaline, or?
Yeah, I think my fastest time ever was like 21.5, but I was chasing down somebody because we had a turnover. But it was all right. I got the tackle.
George, at the end of the season, I think you said you felt physically as good as you has at the end of a season.
That was crazy.
How has that kind of carried over into your offseason?
It was just allowed me to work the way that I wanted to work earlier in the off season. Not to take so much time off to rehab and recover, do a bunch of treatments and stuff like that. I was actually just be able to get a good foundation in. Really up my training towards the start of OTAs, came in great shape, being able to get out on the field, run good routes, catch the ball, not to miss stuff. It's way more fun to be on the football field than on the side watching.
Lance is finally healthy with his finger and his ankle. Do you feel like there's a difference in the way he's throwing the ball towards you?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Trey looks significantly better than he did last year. I really do. I think his confidence is there. I think that
he's throwing really good passes. I know you guys take videos sometimes. He overthrows people once in a while. Hey, it is what it is. He's still learning and stuff. But, I mean, just watching him, he just looks so much more comfortable and confident in the pocket, and I really appreciate that from him, from all the work that he's put into it. I think all of our quarterbacks, I know I saw one of you guys had a stat that Brandon Allen didn't have an incompletion yet. That's pretty cool for him, too. But I think all of our quarterbacks are playing well. But like I said, I think he just looks comfortable back there, and he doesn't look like he just looks like he's having fun, and I really appreciate that from him because when he's out there having a good time, it definitely brings up everyone around him.
Ball coming out differently?
I just catch it. Yeah, that's a Kyle question. I don't know.
Enjoying the game basically for the first time since college. Have you noticed just a vibe,
Yeah, I mean, there were points you see it, I wouldn't say it on everybody's face, but like over the course of my career, like when guys are lacking confidence or something, you can tell. And I haven't seen that from him at all this year. Like he has this energy to him, he has this passion to him, and you can just see he has a smile on his face. He's celebrating with the guys. You can just tell he's having fun out there, and that just makes football a lot easier.
Veterans have different ways of assessing how they played one year and how to motivate themselves for the next. Debo told us, I was awful last year. Just look at the film. And Lois was saying, I try not to be hard on myself, but I do. Some games I could have done better.
Yeah.
How about you? What was your year like last year, and what did you see in yourself?
Let's see. I think first several games definitely started off slow. I missed the first 2, and after that, I'm pretty sure I averaged 3 catches for 30 yards for my next 6 games, which is, for someone, they pay me a lot of money. That's kind of unacceptable for me, so I was pretty upset with that. And definitely got in the flow of things towards, middle half of the year. And, was very confident in my run game, very confident in the way I was running routes, catching the ball, getting in the end zone. But over the course of the season, I think my level of play increased, and I think our whole team did. We went on a 12-game win streak, and everybody was playing at a pretty high level. Always stuff to improve on. I go back after every season, I watch every single route that I run, whether they're, balls thrown to me or not. What are the things I got to work on? Can always get in and out of breaks faster. 245, you still got to get in and out of those things quicker. Watch the other tight ends that do it, that they're around the same weight, and see how they do it. Try to apply that to my game still. Or just watching guys on our roster too. Ross Doyle is a guy who always, he's phenomenal at that. He might not be the fastest guy, but he gets in and out of his breaks really quickly. He's got great footwork at the top. I could name off 5 other tight ends in the league that you can watch too. But that's a big one. And I always get Shanahan always yells at me for I body catch a lot. I think I'm the best in the NFL after AB retired. But just work on my hands. Always extending, getting the ball out there, and just give him a wider catch radius, I think.
George, your reaction to what Debo said about his season last year, can you explain your reaction to that?
That's Debo's take on himself. I love Debo. He does a ton for us. I know there are plays that he wishes he had back. We all do. But I know when Debo's very motivated, he's a fantastic football player. And I'm not saying he wasn't motivated last year, but I definitely think he has a little bit more of a fire under him this year. And I think that's just himself. I think if he said that, then I know that he's going to go out there and try to have a better year this year, which I appreciate, because if Debo's trying to be better, that's just only good for the Niners.
The loss to Philly at the end of the year was frustrating to watch. How did it sit with you? How much did you think about it this offseason? How much was that a motivator for this year?
Well, looking at myself and my position, there's not really anything I could have done differently that game. I played well in the run game. I ran 6 routes over the course of the game. And I think it's kind of hard because their whole team, there was a bunch of people saying you guys just got to work harder and stuff like that. And it's well, not really. We worked really hard, and it's just we had the most important position in football, or really in all sports, wasn't available to us. And so it takes away 50% of the game, a lot of the game, because there's no play action and all that stuff. And so it's frustrating, but it's not like I'm not looking back and watching the tapes saying that, wow, I missed this, I got to do this better, I got to run this route better. It really wasn't any of that. It's just more of a disappointing, but I don't really let it linger because, hey, it's football, it's life, shit happens, and we just got to move on to the next one. And yeah, there's been a lot of dialogue over social media and stuff like that, and it is what it is. They beat us, and we didn't have a quarterback. We'll play them again this year. Looking forward to it. But no, I haven't really lingered on it too much. There's nothing really I could have done differently. So just go to the next one and win more games.
What do you see from Sam Darnold on the practice field?
I think he's like, just this offseason, I think he's just taking good steps forward. I think early on in OTAs, I think he was just like really figuring it out. Like, oops, excuse me, like just like took him a half a second longer to read, you know, his routes and stuff like that. But I think he's starting to really understand the concepts. He's getting the ball out quicker. I mean, you guys saw, I think he had that deep ball to Ayuk today. That was nice. Stepped up in the pocket. He's got a good arm talent. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to really judge anybody during OTAs because there's no pads on. There's no threat of being hit. Routes are kind of different. You know, like I like watching Brandon Ayuk just dice up every single corner he goes against. Like that's really fun. But like when a quarterback has 100% confidence that he's not going to get hit, you know, it's a little bit different. But I think he's playing really well. I think he's improved a lot since he's been here. Just having an understanding, getting the ball out. He throws a good ball too, which I appreciate.
Brandon Ayuk have a different vibe this offseason?
I think he has the same vibe he did last year. Quiet. Actually, I mean, he's a little bit louder this year in OTAs, you know, talking smack to guys, which he deserved. Like, he can do that. I mean, he's out there. Almost every rep, he dominates the guy across from him. He's catching everything they throw to him. He's making big plays. And, like, he brings a lot of excitement to our offense. He brings a lot of energy to that offense, too. And, you know, we're missing a couple guys who aren't practicing, you know. But, like, when he's in the huddle, when he's out there making plays, like, the whole team loves that stuff. And we love seeing him make those plays. And he had over 1,000 yards last year. I'm not a betting guy, but I would say that he's going to definitely get over 1,000 this year. He's going to score a lot of touchdowns. He's going to make a ton of big plays for us. And the energy he has, I think he just kind of figured it out. And like last year, I think he was kind of a quiet assassin, and then like he just worked every single day. And while he might be a little bit louder this year, he still works the same way, and he just has this intent about his work too, which I really appreciate.
He established himself as a leader on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in the wide receiver room, I really do think that. I think he has conversations with guys. You can see him. He talks to wide receivers after plays. He talks to about their routes and stuff like that. I do. I think, I mean, like I said, he's not just like sitting in his locker, you know, getting ready for practice and going out and dominating. He's like having conversation with guys. It doesn't matter, offense, defense, special teams. He talks to everybody, which is like, that's a start. And I think he's only continuing to be more of a voice for us as an offense this season.
All right, thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.